Hi, folks. Welcome back. I've had a few comments over the last day saying that people found the standard form videos really confusing and they weren't sure what they should do. So I'm going to show you a little bit better what's going on with it, and hopefully this will help you out. So it's a little bit of a weird thing, but what we're trying to do is just write the equation in a different way. So we want to have an equation like this one, and if we make a table of values for this equation, and let's say we do 1, 2, 3 for our x values, we can sub in to the equation and find the y values. Oh, we've got a cat coming to visit. So we're going to find our y values. Kitty, we need some space here. If x is 1, 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. If x is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Our rate of change is 2, so I know it's going to go up by 2 every time, so the next one's going to have to be 7. So there's my table of values. If I take this equation and I rearrange to standard form, and when we change to standard form, we are literally just rearranging the equation. We're not changing anything else except the arrangement of things. So the easiest way for this one would be to subtract y on both sides of the equation. And then I'm going to have 0 over here equals 2x. I'll put the y term before the number term, and there we go. 2x minus y plus 1. So there's a couple of different ways that people do standard form. Sometimes they do it equal to 0 on one side. Sometimes they make sure that the number's over there, so we could subtract 1 from both sides to get standard form. So I'll show that here. So you could call this one standard form, or you could call this one standard form. I'm going to accept either. I guess in Canada this one's more typical, in the United States this one's more typical, in Europe I don't know which one gets used more, but both of these most people would understand as standard form. So is this the same equation as this one? Have we done anything more than just rearrange it? Well, we can put in our x and y values again and make a table of values here, and I'll pick the same x values as I did for the first table and see. So if I put in x value of 1 here, 2 times 1, that would be 2. So I'll just do a little keep track here. This side's still negative 1. I need to know what number do I put here for y to make 2 minus that equal to negative 1. Well, we could go through our solving steps, but you can probably just do this one in your head. If I do 2 minus 2, that would be 0. I need to go 1 further down, so I'm going to go 2 minus 3, and that will get me to negative 1. So that means my y value had to be 3, so there it is. If I have an x value of 2, 2 times 2 is 4, so now I need to know 4 minus what equals negative 1, and if I do 4 minus 5, that'll get me to negative 1. If I look now at 3, for my x value, 2 times 3 is 6. 6 minus y equals negative 1. What do I need for y? Well, 6 minus 7 is going to give me negative 1. So y will be 7. And you can see we get the exact same table of values. So what that's telling us, we'll get rid of our scrap work there, is that this equation and this equation both give the exact same relationship between x and y. We haven't changed the relationship. If we were to draw the graph of this equation and that equation, we would get the exact same graph. The only difference is this is arranged in a different form than this one. And if you did the same thing with this arrangement here, you'd see the same thing. And that makes sense because what steps did we use to rearrange it? Well, we did the same thing to both sides. And we know that if we do the same thing to both sides, it doesn't change the value of the variable. It keeps everything equal and the same. So that's the general idea. I'm going to show you with a trickier equation how it goes, because this equation didn't have any fractions. And where it gets a little trickier is where you have some fractions. So let's go for example 2. We can call this one example 1. Example 2, we're going to say y equals negative 2/5 x plus 7. So now we have a fraction for our slope, and we want to rearrange this. And I just want to be careful because YouTube cuts off my videos at 10 minutes. So I'm going to stop this one here and I'll upload a second video as well.